Yeah, you've talked extensively, about wanting a bunch of kids and getting married and all that sort of stuff, and having a family. Um, have you put together a set of guidelines, rules, or anything like that? Somebody asked me, when I posted on Twitter to ask him about how started the family. He talks positively about his plans to date, marry, have many children, yet hasn't started. And he's getting older. How's it start going? So maybe to sort of elaborate on the plans for that, and what the strategy happens to be. I saw the other
Yeah.
day you posted, for the first time ever, a picture of you and your girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the funny thing with social media, right? Because people have all their assumptions, right? I'm sure, there's people who think you're accuse you of, I don't know, being an incel or
Yeah.
hating women or being this or that, because
Why doesn't
you're
Rich ever
not.
post a picture of his girlfriend? What is she, fat and ugly or something like that? It's like, no, because you're weird, and that's why I don't need to share it.
Exactly, right? People have private lives,
Yeah.
and I have many reasons for not wanting to, share every intimate detail
Yeah.
with random people on the internet to
What are you willing to share
prove.
today?
Yeah. So yeah, I have a wonderful girlfriend. We've been together for 6 months now. We are very much aligned in terms of values, in terms of vision, in terms of what we want for the future. We get on incredibly well. We massively love each other. We trust each other. And yeah, we would like to get married and have a lot of babies together, and create that family. We have that same vision. So that's where I am personally.
Mhm.
But like I say, at the same time, I think another thing that can happen perhaps on the internet is people think that people kind of ignore the wider world and things happening with other people and wider and other culture because they're okay, right? It's the kind of the I'm all right, Jack mentality,
Mhm.
right? So maybe you're well off and your business is doing well and you've got money and whatever. So inflation, who cares, right? It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't affect me. I'm doing okay. I can recognize, right? I'm in a good position in a lot of ways, right? But I can very clearly see the struggles and problems and challenges that a lot of men and a lot of women are having out there, right? So I think another thing that can get mixed up is when you are someone who talks about these things, people can be very solipsistic, and they project that, either they internalize it and personalize it for themselves, or they put it onto you, right? And this is what happened. This is the reason why I even had posted that photo, because I can be talking about the issues that people are having in the dating market and the challenges that people don't understand, and I can be talking about my thoughts on marriage or my thoughts on divorce and whatever it is. And then people have the assumption, well, I think the person I was responding to was saying something about like how like I couldn't, how I wouldn't be able to get a girlfriend, and like I probably can't get a second date. And I'm like, look, I'm not gonna like flex on you, but I'm not struggling. I haven't been struggling for women for most of my life. Like I'm not here bragging and boasting. Yeah, look at all the chicks I'm getting, whatever. But like that's, for me personally, that's not I'm okay, right? I'm in good shape, but I can still see that obesity is a problem and something that a lot of people struggle with. It doesn't mean that I'm struggling with obesity or I have a 40% chance of becoming obese or whatever it is. Um, and as social commentators, which is something that we both do, we just talk about what we're seeing around us. We talk about things that people are going through. We can pull up statistics and say, okay, what's going on here? What's causing this? What are things that we can do? How can we give people better tools? How can we give people a better mindset so that we can actually shift things in a better direction? That's all that I'm trying to do. I think that it's incredibly important. That the family is so important. Parenthood is important. Like bringing up the next generation, men and women actually being able to get along and couple up with each other and create families. That's the foundation of a society. That's why these
Mhm.
conversations are important. And I don't think that the solution is, okay, cross your fingers and touch wood and just jump into this thing completely blindly and hope that it all works out and you have no tools and you're just unarmed. I don't think that's a great strategy. I also don't think a great strategy is just, okay, take no risk at all, right? Just stay away from the opposite sex, right?
Mhm.
Because feminists do the same thing as well, right? You've got these feminists who literally will
Yeah, it's the same plan.
encourage women not
Yeah.
right, like stay away from men. They're
Woman needs a
toxic.
man
They're
like a fish needs a bicycle. All you need is your
ex-
career, your cats, and your vibrator, right?
exactly right. But there's also meninist a meninist version of
Yeah.
this, which sort of flips around the other way
Women are
and
all
is like,
evil. It's not worth your time.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? There's not much nuance there. The truth is, yes, there are evil men out there and there are evil women out there. I think as a
Yeah.
society in the West, people feel a lot more comfortable talking about the sins of men than they feel comfortable talking about the sins of women. And I think it's good that that is starting to be balanced a bit more. But I also don't want it to overcorrect the other way so that we go from, 10 years ago, hashtag, uh, hashtag, men are trash
Hmm.
to hashtag in 2024 women are trash, right? Because no, some people suck. There are some people who are absolutely undateable, absolutely unmarriageable, people who you really should not reproduce with.
Hmm.
But that is not unique to either gender. And ultimately, you only need to find that one person. So it might be the case that, yeah, okay, I can recognize the fact that, yeah, dating, marriage, finding a decent woman, all these things are harder now than they have been at certain times in the past. From what I understand from women, they feel the same way, right? There
Yeah.
are not as many eligible bachelors now as there were, let's say, 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah. There's a
But
lot
at the same
less.
time, yeah, but at the same time, you don't need to date everyone, right?
Yeah.
Women, I'm like, do you need to date do you need to date billions of men, right? Does a man need to date billions and billions of women? It's like, no, you don't. So I think if, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, I think if you do like really have your stuff together and you've got a right mindset and you work on yourself truly and you pick well, I think you can yeah, you can change the odds very heavily in your favor and create your own reality.
Yeah, I've been having these conversations with my co-host Moff on a podcast series I put on the Unplugged Alpha YouTube channel. If you guys aren't subscribed, please go there. And we've been calling it Ladies Night. We've done it for a few months now, like 3-4 months or so. And really, we wanted to take a different approach to having conversations with gals on topics around life and romance and stuff like that. And it's been difficult, actually. I thought. Like, I asked Myron once on Fresh and Fit years ago. I said, the gals you have at the table, is that an accurate representation of what's in Miami, or do you like handpick, for salacious sort of like amplification, for the camera? And he's like, oh, that's pretty much what we got.
Mhm.
So okay, and then I saw a lot of them getting thrown off the show and a lot of veins popping and yelling and stuff like that. I thought, okay, so let's have a conversation here and see if we can do a little bit differently, see if we can see if we can go somewhere. And it's like it hasn't changed that much. It seems like there's two distinct categories of women that we'll have on the show, and it's like there's the ones that are just a complete train wreck, but they hold that to the public via social media and the virtue signaling that everything's perfect and they're a great person and there's nothing wrong and they don't have any beliefs to update, and that's not a victim mindset, it's something else. And then you have the other category, which just seems to be the women that have it squared away, right?
Mhm.
that are in a good productive relationship, that see themselves as complements to one another, and they work together. And like it's weird, but it's like there doesn't seem to be anything where the single gals are dealing with the situations like the ones that are claimed, right?
Mhm.
And I haven't seen it improve yet. It's just a lot of people have noticed in the in the shows, and I throw it in the comments, are like, what, train wreck, like this, that, and the other thing, why isn't she see like this reality of the stuff that she's talking about? And I try to be decent about it. Like, I don't ever want to throw anybody off the show. Like, I've been called names by some of these chicks from time to time, and it's
Mhm.
like, no, we're just going to keep rolling. That's your opinion, cool, thank you so much. And the point that I'm trying to get at here is that I haven't seen anything change. People often ask me when I do podcasts, because I've read my book and they want to pull me on. I'll be like, the question is, well, how do you fix that? Like, how do you improve that? Like, how do you like have the sexes benefit from one another, to come together rather than get pushed apart, sort of thing? And I don't have an answer to that because it requires a lot of reflection and self-ownership. And I think the people that get it, and the ones that don't
Mhm.
just don't get it. And I don't think that you're ever going to change the ones that don't get it, because they've been drunk on the Kool-Aid for decades now of the lyrics and the notion of men ain't shit, and women ain't shit,
Mhm.
and women are all hoes and men are all dogs, and you go back and forth, and it's like they're lobbing the ball back and forth,
Yeah.
and nothing's really being dealt with. Do you see anything on the horizon where this is improving, or is it just
Um,
like constant bickering and fighting? Because I get a lot of that mostly.
yeah, I do, and maybe this is me being the eternal optimist.
Yeah.
I think that we are I've said this many times. I think we're in a truly unique place in society right now, with the convergence of where we are in terms of social aspects, cultural aspects, religious aspects, technological aspects, financial and economic things. Like the convergence of all these things has never happened before. We've never been in a world before where we have YouTube and podcasts and Instagram and Facebook, and you've got this weird hookup culture, and you've got a decline of religious devotion going on, and you have all of these people, maybe 50% of people in the USA around my age maybe came from a broken family, and all of these things happening. Meanwhile, it's much harder to buy a property than it used to be, so therefore it's harder to, it's more expensive to bring children into the world than it used to be. We have like this convergence of all these factors on top of each other, and we've just never dealt with this before as a species. So I think what's happening right now is the sort of breaking eggs part. I think that there's a lot of realization and a lot of awakening going on, right? And I think that some of that looks a little bit ugly, and there can be a lot of fighting and bickering and back and forth.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.